My name is Dennis Kim. I'm the concertmaster of your Pacific Symphony. And today we have the honor of having two of my favorite people of the Pacific Symphony family, Mike and Ellie Gordon. Everywhere I go, when I go to different festivals, when I teach here or there, my name is Dennis Kim, concertmaster of the Pacific Symphony, Mike and Ellie Gordon chair. So basically, they're family, and I hope you guys enjoy this hour. It's going to be fun to get to know some of our most important people in the symphony family. Welcome, Mike and Ellie.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's good to be here.
I heard recently that you have gotten the first shot. Are you healthcare workers? Because you're obviously not 65 years old.
No.
That's so far long ago, I forgot it.
Funny story, Dennis, when we took our family away to celebrate our 50th anniversary, my grandson, who was 10 at the time, said, "Grandma, when you and Grandpapa are going to celebrate your 60th anniversary, are you still going to be 60?" I said, "Do you have a problem with that?" "I don't have a problem with that." He said, "No, I've always wanted to know someone who was -0." I gave up.
No, but congratulations on getting the vaccine, and hopefully when you get the second one, everything will be clear and you guys will be able to do a few more things that you would do normally. For those watching, please, if you have questions for Mike, Ellie, or myself, please put them in the chat or the Q&A, and I will try to get to as many questions as possible. First of all, yeah, just tell me a little bit on how you met, where you met, where you grew up. I know that it's not in California, so yeah, please start from the beginning.
Okay, well, I grew up in New Jersey, of all places. It's a good place to have been. And I wound up going to Philadelphia for college. I went to University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School.
Oh.
And we met my junior year of college. Now let Ellie get you to that point.
I had a friend.
You grew up in Philadelphia.
Oh, I grew up in Philadelphia. And one of my friends had a brother who was a fraternity brother of Mike's. I was still in high school. I was a junior. And she put together a party that her brother was going to send some of his fraternity brothers over to, and we were going to go. And the guys had set up a backup call that the pledges were raiding the fraternity house. So if we were not presentable, they could leave, but nobody left.
We had an out. And two couples ended up getting married from that party.
Wow, amazing! And that's where you actually, you dated and went to the Philly Orchestra, and that's where all of this kind of began.
Well, I grew up in a family that loved classical music. My father had classical music on my whole entire life, and he could identify the piece of music, the first 10 bars. And so I was, whenever Philadelphia Orchestra had a children's concert, I was there. So that began my love of classical music.
Mine was a little later. My sophomore year of college, I had a very difficult term. I had 7 courses and I needed an easy one. So I took music appreciation. And that was my introduction to classical music in the following years when Ellie and I met.
Amazing.
So our first year, half of our dates were Philadelphia Orchestra.
That's amazing.
Because the nosebleed seats in those days were $2 each. The trolley car was 25 cents each way. And that was my budget, $5.
Amazing. And so you saw Philly Orchestra in its prime. You saw Ormandy.
Oh, yeah, Ormandy was there.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
It was fabulous.
It was a great hall.
You're talking about the Academy of Music.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because I mean, when I was at Curtis, I was at the same hall, and I was still in those nosebleed seats, and it was a little more expensive, but it was very reasonable for students. We had rush tickets, and I remember, climbing up there, and really it was scary because it's so steep. and you could barely see the orchestra, but the sound was incredible.
It was amazing. It was
And
amazing.
yeah, I didn't have the ormandy, but I had Savalas, I had Muti. It was incredible. And a lot of my friends now, of course, are members of the orchestra. So it's a great full circle for me. When I go back and see them. So and then how did you end up in California?
Well, right after we got married, which was, just for the record, 5 years after we met, I graduated, left town, and we didn't talk for 2 or 3 years until we re-upped. But right after we got married, in fact, it's an interesting story. 2 days before the wedding, I got notification I had passed the CPA exam, which in New Jersey was a big deal because very low percentage passed. So as soon as I got that, I wanted to get out of public accounting, started looking for a job, and wound up finding a job in Boston with the Gillette company. So 6 months after we were married, off we go to Boston.
Wow. So you moved from Philly to Boston right away, right after you got married?
Well, actually, when we got married, we lived in New Jersey
In Jersey, I see.
for a short time. Ellie's teaching career was 6 months, then she gave up. Oh my God.
Yeah, look at that picture.
This
You know what? That was my sweet 16th. No, it wasn't. No, it was.
this was one of the balls at college. God.
Oh my God, where did you ever find that picture? That's hysterical.
There's stuff on the internet. You can find anything these days. No, but that's a great picture. Look at that picture. It's amazing. And of course, I can see you in these pictures. I mean, your smiles are the same, and your personality comes out. It's fantastic.
Yeah, but what you can't see is the bright red hair.
Oh, right, exactly, because of the black and white.
Ellie was a real carrot top.
No, it's amazing. What a beautiful picture. My gosh. And then, so after Boston, how did you end up in California?
Well, I was with Gillette for 17 years.
Mm.
And for most of that time, it was really pretty good. But my job the last 8 years was mergers and acquisitions, buying companies. And toward the end, we were selling the companies.
Mm.
Now, if you're in and you're on Wall Street, selling companies is great. But in a corporation, I'd show up at a subsidiary and they'd hang the black crepe because they knew they were going to be sold.
Right.
So I didn't get a lot of satisfaction out of that job. Then I was also reaching the point, in corporations, you got the pyramid where above you, there aren't that many jobs. And there was really no place for me to go. So I started looking, and I had spent a lot of time in California in the early 70s. Bought 3 companies out here, and each one was weeks at a time out here. And I kept saying to Ellie, we got to move. And she kept saying, no, we're not going anywhere. And then at one point, we closed the deal that we were buying. And it was one of these gorgeous February days, probably 70 degrees, sunny, low humidity, beautiful. Got the deal done, jumped on a plane, flew to Boston, and you didn't always get a jetway in those days, and we didn't have one. The snow was coming down horizontal. And I said, I'm flying the wrong way to go home. And shortly after that, one night I got home and I told Ellie, I didn't ask her at this point, I told her. I said, I'm going to California. I really hope you come. And she did.
No, yeah, I've done that a few times in my career, and yeah, similar response. It's first shock, but I think if you ask and all that stuff, it gets too complicated. So I said, I think we're gonna move to Buffalo, or
Dennis,
we're
he
moving
was
to Philly.
asking for 5 years. And I kept saying, no. But then I decided when he said he was doing it, I wasn't ready for a divorce.
But, and then you come to California, and and how did you get involved with the Pacific Symphony?
Well, after we were here, we must have been here a good 10 years, but right after we got here, we moved here in 1978. And shortly after that, we saw I noticed that Pacific Symphony was playing at Santa Ana High School. And we started going. Now, those concerts were exciting
Mm.
because when you came out, you didn't know if your car was going to be there. I mean, that was not a good part of town.
Right.
But then, of course, wound up moving to the concert hall. And right after we came into the concert hall is when I got involved. One of my friends knew I liked classical music. They knew somebody on the board, had the interview with Lou Spisto, and I joined the board. And shortly after that, John was hired. I was a new member, so I wasn't on the committee. But Carl was there. And it was just great. It just kept getting better.
No, and I did some research, of course, on you too. And so I'm going to let Ellie talk a little bit because, Mike, you're hogging the mic. Come on, take it easy. So, Ellie, I heard. So, Ellie, I heard that you have the honor or the distinction of heading 5 galas
Yep.
over your time here.
Yep.
And again, I know people who chaired one, and it took a year off their life, I heard, and the fact that you did 5, that's incredible. Tell our audience and tell me what goes into chairing a gala or heading one of these big galas.
Well, there's a lot of work that goes in it. And the symphony has a phenomenal staff that does a lot of the work.
Mm.
But it was when I first agreed to do it, I said, just give me a job to do, but don't ask me to ask anybody for money because I just can't do that. Ha 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 ha. I learned really quickly how to. We lost a lot of friends when I was chairing those galas because
They see Ellie coming and they'd run.
but it was an amazing experience. 5 or 6, I don't remember. I had great co-chairs all the time, and it was an experience. It was really a growing experience for me because I had never done anything like that before.
Right, and as many of you know, luckily we had our gala right before the shutdown, and we were so fortunate because we raised so much money, and it was, I mean, so many people were so generous, and really just literally the next day everything got shut down. And I know financially, that was huge for the orchestra. Thanks to people like you and Mike, of course, and others who helped with that gala. And usually this mixer is just me chatting to friends, but I've been told that my job is to try to get you to chair the next gala, Ellie. So that's my responsibility.
Tell Gary to forget it. She came out of retirement to do the 5th one. That was Carl's 25th.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I hope you chair at least 5 more balls, Ellie,
Dennis,
because...
I really liked you up until now.
No, but honestly, I mean, thank you so much for all your work. Like I said, I know people who've done one, and the headache and the stress they go through to try to sell those tickets and to get people to come. I mean, it's a huge thing, and we really appreciate all the musicians. We appreciate it, all the staff, and we're grateful. And again, thank you very much. And Mike, I heard you have this distinction of being the head of the Segerstrom board and the symphony board, and you might be the only one.
Yeah, I'm the only one that's ever had both. It wasn't the same time.
Right, but that's incredible also because
after I shared the symphony, I was given that opportunity, and I wasn't anxious to do that, but I decided to do it because that was about 2 years before the new hall opened, and I wanted the 2 organizations to really work together. Back then, it wasn't working real well. I mean, they're the landlord, we're the tenant, they're the big guy, we're the little guy. And there wasn't a great attitude of cooperation. So I definitely improved it, didn't get it near far enough. And looking at that right now, I'm very optimistic because, Jane Yata is going to be the new chair of the center, and she is wonderful. She is absolutely a great human being.
Yeah, no,
And I
it's
think,
yeah,
and she's a huge supporter of the symphony.
right.
So I
And
think
that, right,
things
that
are
might be
gonna get even better.
right, that might be a perfect segue into our love of sports, because I know Jane, of course, through sports. I was at one function, maybe it was the Strad demonstration function, and I didn't know Jane at that time. But after the function was over, she stopped by and she said, "Hi, I'm Jane. I met you here or there, but we didn't really know each other." And she said, "Can I give you something?" I was like, "Well, of course." I mean, and she came. She went to her car and she came back with 2 boxes of hockey cards. And she said, "I don't want you to ever forget that you're Canadian." And she gave me these 2 sets of boxes. And I don't know much about hockey cards, but I went home and I Googled it. And these were, first of all, very, very valuable boxes. And for someone like Jane to know my love for hockey, it was very touching. And she's invited me a few times to her box at
Isn't that a great box?
yeah, at the Honda Center, and of course, the Angels. And so it's great that people like her who love the symphony can have these kind of positions to influence our relationship, because,
She's so
like you
nice.
said, yeah,
She's so nice and so generous.
right,
You saw our granddaughter a little while ago.
mm,
Her granddaughter's from Boston and she's a crazy Bruins fan. And she was out here she was coming out and we knew the Bruins were playing the Ducks. So I called Jane. I said, "Jane, could I possibly get 3 tickets to the game?" She said, "Oh, absolutely." So she gave us the tickets, and even bigger, she gave us her parking pass.
exactly.
Amazing. It's supposed to get. So we went to it, and we had the box. She had a couple of her relatives were there too, but basically we had the box. She had all the catering there, and at some point the mascot came in, found our granddaughter, and dumped popcorn all over her. I mean, she couldn't have done it any better. It was great.
No, I have an exactly similar story. I had family coming in from Korea, and of course, they'd never been to a hockey game, let alone a box. We get there, and I was expecting, to share the box, but it was totally empty. She gave us, like you said, 3 parking passes. We were sitting in this box all by ourselves, and then all this food starts coming in, and
Right.
I went and I said, "Oh, where do I pay?" And they're like, "No, it's taken care of." I was like, "No, I don't understand. What do you mean?" And we had sushi, we had
Right.
burgers, we had everything. This dessert thing after, my gosh, it was life changing. So no, I'm grateful to. I mean, I don't know everyone on the board, but the few that I know personally, I mean, you guys are the most amazing people, and it's an honor to be part of an organization where the board members are so caring, so generous, of course, but so caring of the musicians and so thoughtful, and we're really blessed.
I,
Really grateful.
I've always said that being a part of the symphony is being part of a family, because everybody who is on the board and all the subcommittees, everybody loves the musicians and everybody loves what they do. And it's just a warm feeling that makes you want to help out and do whatever you can, except co-chair another gala.
No, but Ellie, I know everyone says that and every organization says that, but it's not the case everywhere. And really, I feel like it's really a big family here. Obviously, this past year has been so difficult for everyone, but especially for the music world and for orchestras everywhere. But when I hear, I mean, I wasn't on the players committee, but when I hear stories of the board members, really their concern and their love for the musicians and our well-being, it really was so heartfelt. And if you had a chance to see our players only meetings with people crying and because we were so grateful, it really felt like a huge family. And again, it's grateful.
You have a lot of great people, but many of our closest friends are people we've met since I joined the symphony board. I mean, it's really been interesting.
And now let's talk a little bit about our relationship, our connection. So what does it mean to endow the concertmaster chair?
Aside from writing a check.
That part, I think everyone knows, but other than that part, I mean, why did you choose the concertmaster chair? Why? I mean, you could have done anything.
Well, back then, I was chairing the committee to raise money for the endowment. And early in the campaign, Doug Freeman, who I don't know if you got to know him, but he was a previous chair. He was my personal estate lawyer on top of that.
Mm.
So I couldn't plead poverty when he said do it, because he knew the numbers. But he sort of pushed us in that direction.
But we're still friends.
But the motivation, number one, I wanted to do it. And to have the concertmaster chair is a huge honor. And I don't look for a lot of recognition. I did it in order to encourage other people to do it.
Right.
And now we've got a number of chairs that are covered, and we're actually talking to people about several more. So that's a good thing. We've got to build the endowment.
No, I mean, we're a young orchestra, so we have a few chairs, but I remember going to some orchestras and they have like, the fourth bassoon, the third cello and the ninth violist, everyone's chair's endowed. And again, I mean, I'm sure we'll get there at some point, but I'm grateful, of course, because, to lead by example and these kind of things, I think it encourages other people. And this idea of giving and keeping music alive here in Orange County, I think it is important. And again, this was basically gonna be an hour of just me thanking you and having people watch, but that's a little bit less fun. But again, in all seriousness, I am so grateful. I am so thankful to the two of you, and to everyone on the board, but especially to the two of you. And I'm so proud and humbled, and it actually makes me nervous when I go places and I play, and I have to play at a certain level because, always your name is attached to my name. So I don't want to be like, who's this Mike and Ellie? This guy's a clown. Why are they sponsoring this guy? So no, I'm grateful and thank you very much.
The great benefit is we got to know you, met you very early in your tenure, and look forward to many more times together.
No, absolutely, because that's something I think we took for granted pre-COVID, I can see Mike and Ellie anytime. But as soon as this is done, I'm going to call you all the time and take you out to dinner, or ask you to take me out to dinner and meet my family more and go golfing. I heard you play a little golf, Ellie.
Little.
It's not what I heard.
Yeah, I hear we're playing on Monday.
Absolutely, and I can't wait. But yes, I heard from the grapevine that you play almost every day, and I heard you're an amazing golfer and you love golf.
Well, I don't play every day, and I love being out there and having fun. I've gotten to the point where I'm out there, I could care less if I keep score. I'm just out there because I love the game, and I love just the friendship.
Yeah, I've actually had a chance to meet some people, some board members and staff members through golf, and it's really a great time. It's just to get to know people, and their personalities come out in their golf game. Actually,
Do they ever?
So I'm a huge sports fan. You guys are huge sports fans, and I think timing-wise is perfect. I mean, it's right before the Super Bowl. So your love of the Patriots, I'm gonna forgive you because you lived in Boston a long time. But how could you be such big fans of this organization that's known to cheat and to do so many bad things? I mean, this is your chance to come clean. How can you possibly root for this team?
Dennis.
How could you possibly vote for any politician?
I'm Canadian, I can't vote. No, but I'm just, obviously I'm jealous because, I lived in Toronto, and so we were Bills fans. And then I lived in Buffalo, and every year to lose twice to New England, and then and just have them always win. And now Tom Brady, leaving the evil organization and still succeeding. This is killing Bills fans and fans in the Northeast so much. But I'm sure you have some great Patriots stories.
Well, not a whole lot, but I got to give you a little background. Obviously, I grew up in New Jersey, and I was a Yankees fan as a kid. And then we moved to Boston.
Oh, yeah, must be not easy.
You can't live in Boston and be a Yankees fan. I mean,
Right.
Your life is short. So it took me 3 years to really emotionally switch teams.
Right. I can imagine. Gosh.
So we got ourselves tied to all the Boston teams. Then we moved here. And I said, I'm not doing that again. We just stayed with the Boston teams. And the amazing thing is, you go to a Red Sox game at Angel Stadium, half the fans are from Boston, or for Boston.
Unfortunately.
I was
Unfortunately.
amazed we got there, and that's all you saw were Boston fans all over the place. And one of the games we went to, Boston was winning. By the ninth inning, I don't think there are any Angels fans there.
Right. That being said, our friend Jane is huge Angels diehard fan, and Carl's a huge fan. I mean, I heard he watches Angels replays down in Costa Rica when he's traveling. He loves his Angels. So I'm sure you have a lot of stories of our CEO, John Forsyth. Tell us a little bit about some of your more memorable dinners or occasions with our president.
Talk about. Well, as you said, he was single when he got here.
Right.
And he was dating different girls. We met several of them. And then he met Michelle. And I'll let Ellie tell the rest of the story.
Which one's picture is that? With Carl and John.
Carl and
Look
John,
at John. He looks so young then.
Right, that was early on.
My gosh, look at all of you.
John is a perfectionist, as you know, and he was dating Michelle for a long time. And every time we would see him, and John and our son are the same age, so he's like an adopted son for me. He would say, how do you know it's the right person? How do you know it's the right person? And they broke up for a while, and it was not an easy time for him. And luckily he decided that Michelle was the right person, and they're just a great family, have two of the greatest kids. So we love them all.
No, I mean the time I had dinner with you guys at Pelican Grill, it was great to see you guys. You guys are so close, and it seems like you guys know each other so well. So
We
again,
spent a
this is
lot of
big,
time together.
right? So this is a big family situation again.
Yeah.
I know that you have some connections with Tanglewood, and you've had some experience with the Bernstein anniversary concert. Yeah, tell some of our audience some of your stories of Tanglewood and your experiences.
Well, Gary Good is the one who has put together these trips. I think we've done two or three with him. And it's just so much fun to be with Gary, and he has so many people that he knows because of his background with the Boston Symphony. So the most important thing is that it gives us parking.
It's like the Hollywood Bowl.
Right.
If you don't have premium parking, forget it.
But it's nice to be able to listen to the Boston Symphony outdoors and get great seats and have a fun time. Lots of good dinners, lots of fun people have gone on the trips, and hopefully he'll be able to do another one soon.
Absolutely, I hope so. My gosh.
Playing.
And then we spend the summers on Cape Cod, so
Right.
we just drive over. So
Right.
it's great. It's an amazing experience. What they've
Right.
done out there.
So my experience with Tanglewood, when I was young, I read Bernstein's biography, and he talks a lot about Tanglewood. So I said, when I have a chance, I'm gonna audition for Tanglewood, and hopefully go to Tanglewood. And one summer I auditioned for Tanglewood, and I auditioned for Aspen, and Tanglewood actually accepted me on the spot. And Aspen, they said they'd give me results in 3-4 days. I was waiting 3-4 days, but then I said, well, maybe I didn't get in. So I called the gentleman who auditioned me at Aspen. I said, yeah, I'm gonna go to Tanglewood because I haven't heard from you guys. And he's like, well, we have one more city, but I can't officially tell you that you got in, but can you please wait and just hold on. And he called me the next day and said, I got a fellowship to Aspen, and that he would like me to come to Aspen. So I never went to Tanglewood. the reason I went to Aspen, not only because it was a great place, but I heard about the living conditions at Tanglewood and the mosquitoes, and the way he sold it, sold it was like, you're gonna be living at the Grand Aspen Hotel, and you would rather stay in a dorm in Boston with mosquitoes. So I actually never did get a chance to go to Tanglewood, and this is something, of course, that I regret. But yeah, that first year we were going to do Peter Grimes with Seiji Ozawa, and it was just thinking back. I mean, I wish I had a chance, but you know, I of course I love my 3 years at Aspen. It was a memorable 3 summers.
Well,
what are some of the memorable? Please.
I was going to say, there's another interesting aspect of those trips. You know, David True, who's a board member, he actually has a house in Williamstown out in Western Massachusetts, not far from Tanglewood. So when we got out there, we generally visit him, and he comes to the concerts. And he's very involved with the museum in Tanglewood, in Williamstown, which has an amazing collection.
Mm.
So that's a sidelight that really makes the trips nice.
Yeah, no, I can't wait for these trips to start happening again. I'd love to join you. I mean, I don't know any of the history of Tanglewood. I've actually never been to Tanglewood. I've only read about it, and of course I've seen concerts, and I have friends in the Boston Symphony, but that would be amazing after COVID, of course. So what are some of highlights of the concerts that you've heard at Pacific Symphony? What are 5 that stick out? I mean, both of you, because even the last years for me, you know, certain ones stick out. I'm sure you have a much bigger repertoire of stuff that you've heard that has left an impression.
Well, my favorite composers are, because of my father's background, he came from Russia, are anything that Tchaikovsky or Rachmaninoff do. Those are two of my most favorite composers. So,
I see what Gary's saying.
Yeah.
You play Shostakovich, we don't show up.
Oh, is that right? You're not a big Shostakovich fan?
No, I don't.
Okay,
like
good to know.
No.
Atonal doesn't work for me.
Yeah. How about you? What's something that you love, Mike?
Well, I agree with Ellie, but the other thing is, I always had this attitude that Mahler was too heavy, dark, and Carl started doing the Mahler symphonies, and I think they're wonderful, and he does such a good job with it. And you know, our band just does so well with a lot of these pieces. The other thing are some of the like the Strauss tone poems. You know, our wind instruments are just phenomenal. You know, and going back, of course, they had to build the strings, and that was the one thing that, you know, Raymond Kobler did. When he came here, he really had a dramatic improvement in the strings. So the orchestra we've seen it develop. You know, when people say, well, you've got a local pickup orchestra guy, you know, you're in the dark ages. That was 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Today, this is a world-class organization.
No, the development, even from what I've heard, like, you know, playing in a high school and now playing at Segerstrom, I mean, just that difference is huge. And when I play in some of the sessions in LA, I mean, the Pacific Symphony has a very good reputation now, and you know, everyone understands the level of the Pacific Symphony, not only in this area but nationwide, and hopefully after this pandemic we can, you know, tour worldwide so that people will know what the Pacific Symphony is.
Right.
And
well, there's another major factor that made the symphony better, and that is shortly after we moved into the new hall, Carl came.
Right.
And you know, the original conductor, you know, he was a good college conductor, but we needed somebody like Carl, and he drove the transformation.
Right. No, I mean,
there he is.
It's a little bit more recent picture.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
his hair wasn't that gray.
Right.
Mine was, but his wasn't.
And who are some amazing soloists that you've had a chance to meet or to get to know?
We've been so honored to be able to sponsor any of the concerts that Andre Watts has done.
We've done 4 or 5 of his. There he is.
And,
Okay.
he's just such a wonderful human being, as well as an amazing pianist, that we just, everybody in the symphony knows if he ever comes again, we'll underwrite the concert. We've been honored to underwrite so many outstanding musicians that it's really been
Right.
a joy for us.
And we really got to know him and his wife, so it's great. I just hope he's able to start playing one of these days.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for me, backstage is a picture of Maestro Watts shaking hands with Tim Landauer, and every time I see this picture, it breaks my heart a little bit, of course, because Tim's not with us anymore. But to see his respect for Tim and the orchestra,
Yes.
and his, it's you can see everything in that one picture. What kind of gentleman Andre
Right.
Watts is. And I've had a chance to work
so
with him
close
a
to
few times.
Carl.
Right.
He is so close to Carl. Carl saved his life.
Right.
He literally saved his life.
And I can't wait for you to underwrite his next performance with us. Right after you chair the next ball, Ellie. So
You don't want to wait that long.
And randomly, we have a picture of your granddaughter actually on the Zoom.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your grandkids, because I heard you're very proud of your grandkids.
Oh, yes, yes. Tell
We've,
him about Louis.
we've got some wonderful, wonderful grandchildren. We really do. Unfortunately, we lost our daughter 5 years ago, going on 6 years. And I said at her memorial service that she left such a phenomenal legacy with her 2 kids. They're both accomplished students, and one is graduating from college this summer. Another one is working, and our son has 2 grandchildren, 2 children as well. And it's just, we keep saying that the prize for having children is they give you grandchildren.
Right.
And you can love them and enjoy them and send them home.
Right.
Yeah, but Lily's older brother, he went to Ohio State. And he is a food scientist.
Awesome.
There aren't a whole lot of them. Food scientist works for manufacturers of food, not for
Mhm.
restaurants.
Right.
And he was cooking from the time he was 10 or 11 years old,
Wow.
but he never wanted to be a restaurant chef. He wanted this. So he's had several jobs since he got out, but now he's working outside of Boston. And he is in charge of edibles for a marijuana company.
Wow. Amazing.
And that's the wave of the future. They figure that going out a few years, 80% of the stuff is going to be consumed
Right.
edibly and not smoked.
Right.
But here's this young kid, he's 27.
Mhm.
Only one in the company knows anything about food.
Right. It's amazing.
And he's formulating the new foods and supervising the production, and he's just doing great. Lily, his younger sister, who was on here before, she's a senior at DePaul University in Chicago.
Mhm.
She's a communications major. And she's just a wonderful kid. We just love her. And she had a really great internship last summer with Boeing, who's headquartered in Chicago now. And if they're hiring anybody, she'll have a permanent job, but we have to see whether they're out of the woods by June.
Right. No, it's amazing. No, I mean, you just see it from her smile. She's an amazing, bright person. So what are you most looking forward to after the pandemic?
Getting life back to what it was.
Getting back, seeing friends, taking the trip we had to cancel.
No, I mean, we're supposedly gonna have our first rehearsal in 2 weeks, and I'm so excited, and I can't wait.
A full orchestra?
Not full. It's a little bit smaller, but we're using as many people as possible to be safe. And initially, of course, all these concerts will be online, But yeah, I'm hoping it's sooner rather than later that we're gonna have audience and of course socially distanced and in smaller numbers. But I can't wait to have the audience, be there, and because that's what we need, what we thrive on. We practice all our lives so we can play in front of other people and get that feedback. And I remember just watching you. You're up there over on the left hand side, and I can see you smiling from my chair, and that's what we miss, and that's what we need. So I can't wait for that day to come back soon.
Great. Now, we love the concerts, but I'll tell you, the rehearsals were a special treat.
Absolutely.
One of our requirements when we first started underwriting was we go to rehearsal, but we sit in the orchestra.
Right. Absolutely. No, that's something you can't. Yeah, not anyone can do. Absolutely.
And you watch Carl's face instead of the back of his head.
Right.
It's really nice. But sitting there and talking to you guys, I mean, everybody is just so nice, and every member of the orchestra we talk to, they're great people. They have something to say. And you sit in the audience, and here's a 90 or 100 of you on stage, and you're coordinated, and you're like one. But every one of you is a really unique individual, and we love getting to know you.
Yeah, no, I mean it's one, like you said, it's we're all part of this huge big family, and that's our job. But without people like you, it's hard to do our job. So we're very grateful.
You know what?
Yeah.
One of the most amazing things that we've been able to do was travel with the orchestra, both to on both of their last trips, the last one to China and the first one was to Europe. And you just see, because you're living with each other, so you really get a feel for this family. And it's really been, we're very fortunate to have been able to do that, because not very many people can do it. And I don't take anything like that for granted. I just feel really lucky that we could do it.
No, absolutely. I mean, yeah.
One of the interesting times was during the China trip, one night after the concert.
Oh, this was fun.
At a dinner, Carl never eats until after the concert.
Right.
So we're up having this reception, and a lot of the musicians were there. And we're at the table, and Carl's at one end, and Pinchas Zuckerman's at the other end. They're both telling stories. You didn't know who to listen to first. They were just so funny. And Zuckerman is a kick. I mean, he's off the wall funny.
No, I know Zuckerman, and first of all, he's the most generous person. I've never paid for a meal with Mr. Zuckerman, but you can imagine he's got a million stories, and there's so many stories about him also. But
Right.
I can imagine Carl on one end and Mr. Zuckerman on the other. Just it must have been hilarious. Here's a picture of the China tour.
Yes.
And yeah, it's when I first came here, there was rumors that we'd be going to China every year because it was so successable.
It was.
And
successful.
then this pandemic hits, and it seems so. I don't even know what the right word is. It seems like it's so in the future. Once we get back on stage, and then travel gets safer, and then everyone gets back. It seems like so far away, but yeah, tours really help an orchestra get closer. Not only performing, but you finally get to know people and traveling with people. It's I think it's a real chance for the orchestra to get closer and get stronger.
It was quite an experience. We were received extremely well. I mean, the crowds loved the orchestra, and the venues they have. They built these halls all over the country. They're absolutely amazing.
It's incredible. Yeah, they built all these halls, and not yet anyways. They don't have a world-class orchestra in China, but they have world-class halls everywhere in every little town. Of course, the town is 50 million people, but every city has this incredible hall. And I have so many funny stories of touring in China. But a lot of these places, they don't turn on their heat until like an hour before the concert. So the dress rehearsal, you're there, and it's basically you're playing outside, and China in the winter is cold, And so I remember we had a rehearsal, and everyone was wearing scarves and hats, and we were complaining and said we're not going to play. And then the manager of the hall came, and they brought this small space heater and put it in the back of the violin and said, "Is that better?" And we thought he was kidding, because it was a 4,000 seat hall, and he had this space heater that was for like one person's desk, and he put it way in the back. And it was a lot of funny stories like that. But every time I hear, every tour to China that comes is better. It's better run. The halls are better. The audience is more educated. So I lived in Hong Kong in the late before 2000, and those halls were still built then, and there'd be people spitting in the hall and smoking in the hall. It was incredible. And it's just they just didn't know it was something foreign to them. So China is an amazing place. It's developing so quickly, my gosh, and including the classical world also. So this was something that was unbelievable for me. During this pandemic, I heard that there were still generous people donating and giving during this period. And can you explain the culture of how that's possible? Because it's amazing, because there's no concerts going on, but there's people who still care so much, and people like Charlie Zhang, of course, who made this huge gift recently, and others. But the culture is just so weird and strange to me. And of course, I'm grateful, but explain how that happens.
Well, as we said, it's like a family.
Right.
And people care about the orchestra and the members, and recognize that there's no earned income. So the only way this orchestra survives is for donations. And unlike the center, which, they're dark, but they don't have to pay these touring shows because they're not here. You guys need to get something. You're not getting full pay, but at least we're doing something, and we want to do more. And, that was a little frustrating during parts of the negotiations, because we're doing everything we can. And people have really stepped up. I mean, Charlie, it's obvious there's several other donations. There's a few more in the works. Unfortunately, we've lost a couple of our very great supporters recently, and one of them is Bill Gillespie, who was our next door neighbor and wonderful man. And that money will be coming into the endowment at some point, but it's because you guys are loved by your audience, and that's why people have done what they did.
It's incredible, because coming I started my career in Asia and in Europe, and there it's fully sponsored by the government. So it's a totally different system altogether.
Right.
But the first time I saw this incredible generosity and philanthropy was I was with the Buffalo Philharmonic, and we had a Florida tour, and me and the CEO and a couple people went down early to play for some people, for some big donors, and there's a gentleman, I won't even say his name, Will Larson. He was an incredible gentleman. He loved music. He had a connection with Interlochen also. But we went to go see him, and we were at this restaurant, but it had like a big room on the side, and he loved opera. And I played just the Meditation of Tice, and right at the end of that, in front of me, I don't even know what the situation is, but he wrote a check for $1 million and said, "That was beautiful, thank you." And I went to the CEO. I was like, "Will I be getting some of that?" He's like, "No, that's not how it works." But it was incredible, because that's something I've never seen before, and this kind of generosity, and it's everywhere in the U.S. and all these orchestras, rely on these big gifts and generous donations, and I don't know if that system. I don't know how that system can survive, but it's amazing to see.
Well, I think it will. Yeah, I think it will survive, because one of the unique things about us, almost all the money here was earned by the people that are here.
Mm.
You go back east, you have fifth generation people on the board.
Mm.
And that was one of the things I explained when we sold the bonds to build the hall, that all these institutions, a couple of colleges, Performing Arts Center, churches all over the county, all built by one generation, earned the money themselves,
Right.
with very few exceptions.
Right. No, it's amazing. And again, it's amazing to see it. And when I tell my friends in Europe and in Asia, I mean, they're shocked. I mean, it's like, I said, some people, when they pass away, they sell their house and give it to the orchestra.
Right.
And I was like, it's like, there's a lot of things I love. I don't know if there's anything that I love that much that,
Right.
when I pass away, that I want to sell it and give it to the Maple Leafs or who knows what I want to give it to. But there are people that love the symphony that much, and we're like I said, we're grateful and we're thankful, and we understand what we need to do, because as a musician, all we can do is always get better and to improve the product so that it's a product that you're happy with and you're proud of. And that's what we can do. And like I said, we're just so grateful for people like you and Ellie.
Well, and then with the reputation of the symphony, we get great applicants. Somebody said, not too off basis, every time we bring on a new member, the orchestra's better.
Absolutely.
The quality of these people that want to play here is right at the top.
Right. No, I mean, of course, it's hard to get a job anywhere, but yeah, when Pacific Symphony has an opening, there's 100 people from not even all over the country now, all over the world come, and it's an amazing situation. And of course, it's with great leadership from Carl and from John and from the board. But I think what I've seen in the last 2 years that I've been here, the musicians really, every time they come on stage, I think they realize what goes into making that possible, to go on stage and now, especially after COVID, I think no one will take it for granted. Like you said, Ellie, I mean, it's just, everyone will understand the importance of what we do, how lucky we are to be on stage, to do something that we love. I talked about it with some other people on this mixer, but like, some people do this all day long. They're in front of a computer and that's their job. And we get a chance to play music, live music, for people that have this look and this sparkle in their eye. And so we're very lucky, and I'm grateful, and we are all grateful to everyone on the board for keeping us alive during this pandemic, because it was, as you know, other parts of the country, that's not the case. It's difficult in many places. And so we're very, very thankful to
Dennis, and I just want to say that I think that everyone who supports the symphony does it because they love the symphony and the music, and they're not doing it to get credit for it. It's very philanthropic feeling, and it makes you feel good to be able to do it, and you're not looking for accolades for the fact that you're doing this.
No, that's what I've seen from, again, like I said, I don't know everyone on the board, but the few that I know, they never want me to mention their name. They don't want to do these Zoom calls. They want to, no, I'm happy to support from behind. I mean, you don't want to be, but I think it's important to recognize, especially people like you, because you are important, and hopefully it encourages others, of course, to.
That's the only reason it's the only reason we do it publicly, is to encourage other people.
Right, to join our family and to continue to build something that we're all proud of in this community. And I mean, when I talk to my financial friends, they're like, that's not a very good business model, this orchestra. And I said, that's true. I mean, it's not, I don't think they're doing it to make money, but it's for other things. And I don't think money is everything, of course. But like I said, I mean, this whole hour could have been just me thanking you just for 59 minutes, but I'm glad we got a chance to talk about other things, about your love of sports. So what are your predictions on the Super Bowl?
Never bet against Brady.
I knew you'd say that. But do you honestly think they're going to win?
Yes.
Wow, my gosh.
It's tough. It's tough, but I think they will. They got a great defense. They made Aaron Rodgers not look that good. And he's good. He's good. So, I mean, it's not going to be a walk in the park. But Brady
No,
has that ability to just pull it out.
Sorry,
I'm watching-
Gary.
Yeah, when I'm watching the game, I'm gonna be thinking about you guys, and win or lose, I can imagine it's gonna be loud at your house. Yeah, Gary, a big Packers fan, he must have been devastated last week. Did you watch it together at your house?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, they came here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sunday
been
we're
sad.
going there.
Oh, good, nice. No, but it's been really an honor to speak to you and to get to know you a little bit better. On behalf of all the musicians, we thank you. We are grateful for all your efforts, for your generosity, for your time, for your interest and your love of the symphony. And as the concertmaster, I promise that we will do everything in our power to create a product that you're proud of and that continues to get better. And I think that's the most important thing that I think an organization, instead of trying to stay at a certain level, to always keep on getting better. And I can't wait for the next ball that you chair, Ellie. It'll be great. That's one that I'm gonna buy tickets for me and my
You're
wife.
right, you can't wait for it.
And Mike, on Monday, I can't wait to see you hit the golf ball. And are you joining us too, Ellie?
No,
It's not pretty. It's not pretty. As one of my friends said, you need a nice golf course, you need a nice day, you need some nice people and some good golf. And
Right.
75% ain't bad.
No, it's gonna be fun. I mean, it's like you said, it's just fun to get out there. I mean, if you see my game, my wife laughs at my game, and she doesn't play golf. She's like, "Is that what you're supposed to look like when you're playing golf?" But as you know, in Asia, everyone takes lessons. But I've never had a lesson. The first time I played golf, I went out on the course, and I was like, "Wait, why can't we tee it up every time? How am I supposed to hit it off the ground?" But it's a wonderful game, and I can't wait to see you at the concert hall. I can't wait to see you after for a drink. I can't wait to take you to dim sum. I can't wait for you to meet my kids and my wife again. And I can't wait till we get back to normal and we don't have to do this online, but we can do it in person and hug each other and yeah, it's just it's gonna be soon. I know it and I can feel it. And like I said, I'm so grateful.
we hope for the same.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. And I
Thank you.
hope to God that you're wrong about the Bradys this weekend. But I will be thinking about you on Sunday.
I hope you don't lose too much money, Dennis.
Take care.
Thanks so
Thanks
much.
a lot.